There has been situations where people have had issues with a squatter, somebody that, uninvited, moves in, brings their pajamas, food, and ready to take residence. So I had a particular situation that was actually in San Francisco where they'd done everything, of course, change the locks. That didn't work. So it was very creative, but they needed a creative solution. So there's what's called professional squatters. So a professional squatter is someone you hire that goes in and makes the life of a squatter a living hell and
Wait a
gets them
minute. So
out.
you're
Yep.
hiring a competing squatter?
You're hiring a professional squatter, somebody that goes in, plays very loud music, acts crazy, and gets the people out. Because oftentimes the police, they don't want to get involved.
I'm Leigh Brown. This is Real Talk with Leigh Brown. Today, I've got some squatter talk for you, frankly. And for those of y'all that don't know, squatters are people who move themselves in without permission. And we're also going to talk about being on TV and all manner of things with Suzanne Rocha from the Bay Area of California. So enjoy this conversation, and I'll see you on the other side. So tell my audience a little bit about you. Now they know you're in the Bay Area. They know you're Suzanne. Tell them how long you've been in and around real estate, a little bit of a thumbnail sketch.
Well, I'm Suzanne Rocha, and I am in the Northern California, the outskirts of the Bay Area, but I do service the entire Bay Area. I'm a real estate broker and owner of my boutique real estate firm, but that I call a powerhouse of expertise. And we offer a lot of traditional and out-of-the-box, non-traditional solutions to many people, whether buying or selling real estate.
So when you say non-traditional, are you talking like feng shui, we'll do some burning sage around your house? Because I didn't know about that in North Carolina until I had a California buyer who was like, we need to clear this house. And I was like, we don't do that in my church, but all right.
It's about clearing out all that energy, right? Getting
That's
all
what
that.
she said.
Yes.
She was worried about the demons in that house. And I was like, Well, I mean, we had that in common that we know demons are real, but your way of getting them out is different than mine.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, when I talk about non-traditional, I focus also on people that may not be in the cookie cutter real estate plan, where they're wanting the open house, where they're wanting the for sale sign in the yard. There's a lot of, digital marketing that you can do, but also really a lot of people want private sales. They don't want their nosy neighbors. There's always one on the block, right, that is waiting for you to leave and march over for the open house. So there's a lot of people that want privacy. And so you can do that. And that's what I began offering. So, and I've been on Bay Area television for about 18 years. And so a lot of people know me and know that I am able to offer a lot of, non-traditional approaches to help everyone.
So now, do you have a TV show, or are you the expert on call for the favorite anchors? Or tell me about your angle on TV.
Yeah. So I leverage television to be able to get out there because people, of course, and you've mentioned this many times on your show, everyone wants to know who to trust so that they can really have that peace of mind that they want, especially with big, decision-making factors such as selling a property. So what I did is I decided to go on television and as offering real estate expertise in real estate segments. I've had my own show on television, but now I'm just focused on offering a lot of expertise and advice for people in dealing with hot or not markets and focusing a lot on not everybody is in a cookie cutter situation and there's solutions for everyone.
Well, and I love that approach because there is, of course, real estate agents are the easiest targets on the planet for somebody selling something. And
Exactly.
there are plenty of people that will sell you a TV show, but that is not the same thing as being the person who's providing counsel and guidance and information during a real estate segment, which is you putting information out there that even your competitors can see. But as we know, and we hope more realtors would understand, it doesn't make the market worse when you keep your information to yourself. I mean, you can absolutely share because none of us is in this alone. And this is something that a lot of agents could do in their own market, especially right now. There's every news program has questions about the market you're in. So you
Correct.
couldn't appear on a Charlotte area show and have the
Mhm,
level of expertise. And I have no business in talking about California real
mhm,
estate. So
mhm.
hyper local is where it's at. And especially an area like the Bay Area, you've got Burlingame and then Silicon
Mhm,
Valley's over here doing
mhm,
its thing. And you go over
mhm.
to San Francisco, you've got the outer areas, you've got the
Yes,
inner areas.
correctly.
What have you done to develop that expertise over all these years?
Well, being on television for so many years, I actually had to really entrench myself in a lot of different markets with Silicon Valley, with up to Napa, all of these areas. So I did a lot of research and, information. Everyone goes right to the computer, they look up things. So there's a lot of information about schools and that sort of thing. But really, what would an expert like myself, how could we really make their properties stand out and get the best price? So there's a lot of research. So although, I'm in the suburbs, I'm in a Walnut Creek, California, which is about 30 minutes or so from San Francisco. But having been on television that goes out over 11 counties, there's people that call me from all over.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So my car had to be my mobile office oftentimes. So,
And I
but,
bet you also have experts in those other markets where you can say, look, you're way far away from me. So you build those relationships too over time.
absolutely.
So how do you pick those referral partners? I don't think we talk about this enough in real estate, Suzanne, that it's not about popularity or even about sales when you're trying to make sure the other person has that professional expertise and competence and frankly the
Sure.
likability factor. So how did you pick your favorites?
Well, oftentimes I pick up the phone. I also use a lot of different referral sources that are experts in relationships I've actually developed in certain markets over the years. Because let's face it, everyone knows a real estate agent or
Yes,
5, 10, 20 of them. And so don't they all, seem like they're all alike? Oftentimes they forget their name, but I really want it to be different. So my approach oftentimes is very unique. So when I go and seek a person that, hey, that property is a little too far out there for me, but I still want to be involved and I want to do a referral with you. So I interview them. I really interview them so that I could see what's their expertise, what's their closing ratio, what is their marketing like, because they're really a representation of me. And if I'm
exactly.
referring somebody, there's nothing worse than to have somebody drop the ball on the other end, right?
And it happens. And the question then is, okay, what do we do next? Which is also how you handle the very oddball seller situations is
Hmm.
okay, new curveball, what do we do next? And so I'm
Yes.
curious when you're creating opportunities for sellers and out there, obviously you're in a market with a lot of high net worth individuals who maybe don't have any idea that they have as much expertise or
Hmm.
knowledge that they have in they know their field, they don't know real estate, high
Hmm.
ego, high intelligence. What is your best advice for working with somebody who is high net worth, who has a high amount of knowledge in their field but knows zero about real estate? How do you get them to listen to you?
Well, I think if you even give the example, would you do surgery on yourself? We're not experts in every field, right? So we have to be in our own lane. So if a lot of people wouldn't go to court and represent themselves. Some do foolishly, but you wouldn't do that because you want to work with an expert, somebody to guide you, somebody that's going to know what your needs are and to really deliver results at the end. So it's about differentiating yourself from other people, providing value. And everyone wants value. And so often I work on relationships, not so much transactions. So when you develop a relationship, your trust is enhanced. The
Right.
peace of mind is delivered. So I give those examples. I just write out there. It's like, you're going to go operate on yourself. You're an expert in your area, but hey, we got to reach out for other experts in order to help meet our goals in other areas of what we're dealing with in life's decisions, right?
So do they give you any insider information on what's happening next at Meta or any of the little social networks? You get any inside scoop?
Oh, I try to ask, but sometimes they're not forthcoming. Darn
Oh
it.
man.
I know. But, it's just, people are very, in the Bay Area, especially when you're dealing with the higher end, somebody that maybe has working at Google or working at, some of these tech companies and that's ever changing here in the Bay Area. We're seeing, we're also seeing quite a bit of shifts in the workplace and also that has affected real estate market where a lot of people were working from home and now are being called
Right.
back to the brick and mortar. So we're seeing a lot of transitions with that and people really not able to live, 100 miles away. They have to go and be closer. But at the end of the day, it's really built, like I say, on trust. And so you have to develop a unique plan for everybody. And, it's about relationships. So when you make somebody feel comfortable, just like in going to a doctor, to an attorney, that you can deliver, that you have the ability, this is what you've done for others in your position, then you gradually become more comfortable with you.
So being on TV, you're a lot of times you're building trust in one direction because you can't see the person on the other side. You
Hmm.
can't really react to them. So your message
Hmm.
just lands. I would like to know what are the craziest phone calls or emails you've gotten from the television audience that made you say, oh my, maybe I should or shouldn't be on television anymore?
Oh my goodness. How long is this show?
Right? Okay, so give us
Well,
the best one. I mean, obviously,
okay.
you've had marriage
Well, yes.
proposals from being on TV.
Oh,
We know that's a
oh, yes.
given.
Oh, you got that right. I've also actually received calls where somebody would ramble and they would just repeat numbers like they were reading out of a weird mathematical equation. There's also what's called here Napa State Hospital. It's a hospital for the mentally disturbed. I must be on during their breaks, during their lunch hours, because like clockwork, you would not believe how many people wanted me to sell their firehouse, their motel, their car. I'm quite popular with the psychiatric hospitals. So I've gotten a lot of
That's
calls.
a marketing angle I've never had thought of before, Suzanne. That you might have a different kind of niche right there.
Exactly. Talk about niches. I've had
Oh,
that.
bless
And
them.
and to be honest, I've gotten some crazy calls and it's turned out they were other real estate agents.
So,
Hmm.
okay, so were they calling to try and trip you up or to be ugly or?
They've called to be ugly. They've called to tell me, from my appearance to my skill level, they blocked their numbers. But a couple of them made the mistake of not blocking the number, which, so easy to look up these days.
Mhm.
And they were quite embarrassed when I gave them a call.
Oh, so you called them back after
Oh,
they made those?
of course.
Good job,
Of course I do. It's like we can't, you can't tolerate
y'all.
that. I'm not out there. I'm swimming in my own lane. There's a plenty enough business for everybody. We don't need to get ugly as you use that word. It is so true.
No, and if they would spend half of the time they spent making you try to feel small on prospecting themselves, they might have more business and not have the need to be trying to tear you down.
Amen.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But I'm not going to go down that road because it
Okay.
all sorts itself out over time.
It
Okay,
sure
so
does.
of course, my visitors, my viewers,
Hmm.
my listeners, everybody around this show, they love hearing about the very oddball scenarios we've seen. So, in all your years in real estate, I'd love to know what you've seen. And if you have to change a name to protect the guilty, that's fine too.
Okay. Well, talking about thinking out of the box, there has been situations where people have had issues with a squatter. All right. Somebody that, uninvited moves in, brings their pajamas, food, and ready to take residence. So I had a particular situation. It was actually in San Francisco where they'd done everything, of course, change the locks. That didn't work. They've actually these folks even plugged into the neighbor's electrical outlets. So it was very creative, but they needed a creative solution. So there's what's called professional squatters. So a professional squatter is someone you hire that goes in and makes the life of a squatter a living hell and
Wait a
gets them
minute. So,
out.
you're
Yep.
hiring a competing squatter?
You're hiring a professional squatter, somebody that goes in, plays very loud music, acts crazy, and gets the people out. Because oftentimes the police, they don't want to get involved. They don't. They think
Well,
it's
I'm
a
sure.
it's the,
Well,
so
your regulations in California are much more in favor of a tenant or a squatter than they are the property owner, so you have to get creative,
absolutely. Oh, you do because they somehow have more rights than the owner.
which
So
is gotta get fixed.
yes, so you have to do what you have to do. So there's these individuals that you could hire that go in and will get the squatter out.
Okay, what does it cost, Suzanne? What do you have to pay these people?
Oh, it's everything's on based on they do an analysis. They see how long the person has been there. They see if there's how many people. So it could run, it could run some thousands of dollars. But
So you're
if
getting a CMA. You're getting a full CMA,
you're getting a
a
full
comparative market
analysis,
analysis.
you're getting a proposal that says that this is what the steps are. So this is your situation. This is what the steps are. And this is going to be your result. And it's going to cost this amount of money.
Okay, so I have to ask because I know that you're going up against local and state officials when it comes to these kind of things, but at the end of the day, the property owner is responsible for insurance and taxes and
Mm-hmm,
the asset, and so they have no
mm-hmm.
choice. So if the bad squat, not any squatter's good, if
No, I
the
know.
bad squatter
Good and bad.
causes trouble and calls the police on the professional interrupter squatter, and the police get involved, who wins in that situation? Do the police get on the side of the professional
Oh,
interrupter squatter?
they absolutely do. And the professional squatter has all the, has information there that they have a
Okay,
right to be there, permission from the owner. But
okay.
it's been a solution that a lot of people haven't tapped into because somebody could go and move into your property and it could take months or years to get them out
Oh, yeah. And they'll tear it up along the way.
and all the damage.
Well, you know what? You have accidentally shown me one of the things that AI could never do. AI
See?
could never be a professional squatter interruptus person.
You didn't know you were going to wake up today and learn that on Halloween.
I did not, and I'm so grateful for that knowledge. 'Cause I do follow this account, and it's out of California on the TikTok. That's a
Hmm.
squatter. He exposes the squatter situations, and it's a hot mess. And
Oh, it's a big hot mess oftentimes, but it's really it's a homeowner. They want to be that's their property. It's their asset, and you have to take matters into your own hands sometimes and be creative.
well, and so often that homeowner did try to work with a tenant and they've tried to be helpful to people, but then they get
Correct.
run roughshod when the system is stacked up against them. But the squatter thing, no part of me understands why it wasn't a slam dunk from every state and federal level to say, yes, squatting's bad. So no squatting. But they've not done that. North Carolina finally got
Hmm.
through some anti-squatting legislation thanks to a realtor in the legislature,
Hmm.
Brian Biggs, and Brian worked hard on that. But I was just surprised that it wasn't a slam dunk. And even
It's
California, with all
interesting.
of your
Hmm.
challenges in California, that seems like a
Hmm.
common sense, which, as we know, is uncommon nowadays.
Sure. I mean, you should be able to just call the police and say this person doesn't have a right to be here. End of story. But that's not the case. And so a lot of people, even squatters, they want cash for keys. So they go in there and they want money to leave.
That's extortion, is what that is. All right, so Suzanne, if you could wave a magic wand and fix anything in real estate, and knowing you're in California, so your list could be extensive, but you only get to fix one thing, it's a limited edition magic wand. What one thing would you change in today's world? And it could be brokerage, association, buyers, sellers, the market. What's the one thing you'd wave your magic wand on?
I think I would, right now, we're up against a lot of what's called these iBuyers. Of course, I think they're everywhere.
Yes.
And a lot of times there's not enough information out there about them. And not everyone is the same. I'm not pointing fingers, but a lot of people get confused and have been taken advantage by
Yes.
them as far as, not having disclosures done, having lawsuits down the line. So I think that needs to be a little bit more regulation per se
Mhm.
when you have these people coming in and making a quick cash offer when there's really no representation for a seller.
Right.
So just they're very vulnerable oftentimes is what I'm saying. And so I think there needs to be some more regulations with that.
I could back that magic wand use right up, especially because I get really aggravated when it's our senior citizens who get targeted
Thank
because
you.
they may not be up to speed with property values. And then there's 150 grand gone because they weren't given the full story. So you're absolutely right on that. And maybe some well-meaning
Correct.
legislator will listen to this and say, well, we could work on that. And we would appreciate that.
Yes, yes, because again, it's those protected classes, the older adults, they may not know that their property, has an extra two or $300,000 worth of equity in it, and they just oftentimes get taken, in my opinion. Not saying that they're all like that. There's some good people,
Of course
buying
there are.
property as is, but there's also people that are, assigning properties quickly to somebody else to make a quick little 20, 30,000 all day long. So we just have to be mindful that there's a lot of people out there that could be vulnerable and really need to be protected when it comes to their assets.
Absolutely. Well, Suzanne, if somebody wants to reach out to you to find out more about real estate in the Bay Area or how they can get information on how you represent people, what's the best way for them to find you?
Well, for one thing, you could Google my name, Suzanne Rocha. Secondly, you can email me at suzanne@calhomeinfo.com. And I'm very responsive. I'm known for being responsive, and I would love to chat if anyone has a question or just wants to talk about a professional squatter. I'm here.
But don't be ugly or hateful because she will hunt down your phone number and track you down. And of course, I
Exactly.
will have all of Suzanne's information is in the show notes for this episode to make it easy for you to connect with her and see if y'all can't make some new friends in real estate. Suzanne, thank you so much for coming on the show and
Thank
giving
you.
us a little bit of interesting angles to think about.
Thank you so much. I really had a good time.
All right, guys, say something nice about Suzanne in the comments or something you learned or are surprised by like me, and hit the bell to subscribe so we can see you next time.
Whew. If that doesn't give you a new perspective on real estate or at least make you laugh out loud, you need to check your polls, friends. Now listen, if you loved what you heard, go ahead and click the subscribe button, hit the bell if you're on YouTube, follow on that favorite podcast app, and pretty please leave me a 5-star review, not just for me, although I do totally love the affirmation, but because it helps other people find the truth behind the real estate curtain too. And hey, if you've got a wild story of your own or something burning you want to learn about in real estate, you can slide into my DMs, as the young folks say, or shoot me a message. Maybe you can be the next guest on Real Talk with Leigh Brown.